as I mentioned earlier today is March 15th, and that is an important day for our community because that is the day that we, as determined in directives from the Department of Public Health, the disability community are eligible for vaccines. And we just heard from Sasha, she's on her way now. And it includes, there's definitions about who that includes. And there's one person who has been integrally, as I mentioned before, and I've mentioned before, and I even had trouble saying that word last time as well. I'm going to practice that tonight. Involved in all those discussions, and that is Aaron Carruthers, who is the executive director of the State Council on Developmental Disabilities. And I'm going to introduce him now to kick off our next session, which is specifically about vaccines, and an important day for that to happen. So and I want to kind of stress a little bit also that as Aaron joins us, he has been advocating nonstop on this issue for a couple months now, if not longer. And he is a friend and colleague. He has been appointed as executive director to the State Council on Developmental Disabilities and oversees the regional councils throughout the state and is involved with policy. They do grant making and they do grassroots organization and put out a ton of information and resources as well. So I'm thrilled to introduce Aaron and to hand it over to him for this really important topic on this day. Hi, Aaron, nice to see you.
Jordan, it's great to see you as always, and thank you to everybody who's here. The ARC's Public Policy Conference is just one of the best conferences in California every year. I'm always grateful to have any part in this, and today there's a lot to talk about. It's really exciting. I have a PowerPoint that I'd like to share. Am I able to do a screen share and do that?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I see it happening here. That's good. As you can see behind me, I'm representing March is Developmental Disability Awareness Month. So as always, the ARC is timely focused and ties everything together by having their public policy conference during March. So thank you for that. Pulling up the PowerPoint here, and we're going to start from the beginning. How's that look? We got it good?
Good, yeah, thank you.
Great. And Jordan, would you just remind me how much time I have?
Yeah, absolutely. We are going till noon, but let's leave. I imagine there might be some good Q&A on this one, some good questions. So let's cut that 5 to 10 minutes before, if we can't, like 5 minutes before, so we can maybe 10 minutes or so. I know we ran a little late.
So 10 minutes for the slides and then 5 minutes for the Q&A. I will, here's what I'll do. I'll speak quickly, everybody listen slowly. Okay, so hello, Aaron Carruthers with the State Council on Developmental Disabilities. I'm also a member of the California's Community Vaccine Advisory Committee. So that's the critical role that Jordan was talking about that we began actually the day before Thanksgiving, meeting with the California Department of Public Health to advise the state and to shape them on what the vaccine approach should be for the state for people with developmental, other disabilities, and chronic health conditions. Message of hope, there's a light at the end of the tunnel, and today we're going to talk about how to get there from here. The biggest message and takeaway, if I could, one thing that everybody here should take away from this presentation is eligibility versus availability. Two different issues, two critical issues, and they're both kind of colliding right now at the same time. As Jordan said, but where are we now? California cases, this is the trend lines of we're 1 year into this pandemic, and we can see the trend lines of the infections, of the deaths, of the ICU admissions, the hospitalizations and the ICU admissions. So that peak that we saw over the winter is coming down. Tests in California have delivered 51 million tests and have identified 3.5 million cases of COVID in California. And let's pause and just mourn and think about the 55,000 losses, including 95 people lost just today from COVID. As Jordan said, today is a significant day. Eligibility. Eligibility. We fought to make sure that people with high-risk health conditions, developmental and other disabilities, are named as a priority for the vaccine. And California's approach was forward-thinking. So I want to give you the criteria that goes into effect as of today. The California took the CDC list of high-risk health conditions and modified it a bit. Hopefully you've all seen this. I think what's really interesting and forward-thinking and inclusive is how they looked at developmental and other disabilities. Instead of going with a diagnosis approach, which is the CDC list, they went with an impact approach. And so somebody who's the COVID infection is likely to result in a life-threatening illness or a higher risk of death. If COVID's going to limit a person's ability to receive regular services they get for their well-being or survival, or if because of their disability, it's going to be particularly difficult to give them COVID care for COVID. Great, smart, inclusive way to approach who should be a priority for the vaccine. So in this, the state just last week, Thursday night, huge news. Well, I mean, once we got those descriptions, we said, now you have to interpret them, you have to implement them. And the advocate said, please, state, be inclusive. Don't have people go person by person, doctor by doctor saying, I meet these criteria, do you agree? If so, verify that I can get a vaccine. Please don't do that. Rely on work that's already been done by stating all regional center consumers, all independent living consumers, all HSS, because each person's already gone through an independent review to determine the severity of their disability, and the state should rely on the good work that's already been done and deem all those individuals as eligible for the vaccine. On Thursday night, they did that. This is huge. They also did something that we wanted really badly, which was, so, okay, if it's all regional centers, then what? If it's all HSS, then what? We said the easiest thing to do would be self-attestation. I'm verifying, and you're taking my word that I meet those criteria. So the state also adopted that on Thursday. This is huge. This is phenomenal. This is monumental in people just moving forward with the ease of being able to get the vaccine for the eligibility. A couple of questions I've received since these came out. Hey, Aaron, when the state said all regional center and all HSS, does all mean all? Well, of course not. All means adult individuals from 16 to 64 years old. The vaccine has not been approved for minors, and people who are 65 and older were already eligible. Next question, but do I need a letter? Our system's very concrete. Can I have a letter to verify? Now, the short answer is no. You can go in when registering and say, I meet these criteria. However, DDS, at least DDS wants to try to give people as much information and supports as possible. They're kind of thinking and keeping in mind what happened with family caregivers when that letter went out. So DDS has asked all regional centers to go ahead and still issue a personalized letter to all of their consumers. So people can bring this letter when getting a vaccine, just in case there are any questions. Hopefully there aren't. The Department of Public Health has told vaccinators, the system is now an honor system. It's a self-attestation system, and you should take people's word for it. Other programs like IHSS may already do that. Now that's eligibility, but let's talk about availability, because here's where it gets more difficult. As of yesterday, March 14th, there's been about 16 million doses shipped to California. That's about 800,000 first doses per week. That's what's shipped. What's arrived is 15.7 million. So you can see there's a little bit of a delay in what's en route. You can see what's in the pipeline there. Doses administered is 11 million doses that have been administered to Californians. So projections, what do we expect to get? What we expect to get, and here's the actual breakdown from the Department of Public Health that I received this morning. Yesterday, the projections from the federal government, the state does all of its planning on a 3-week cycle of what the federal government tells them. Here's what's coming. So as of yesterday, Moderna, there's 516,000 doses. I'm sorry, that's Pfizer. For Moderna, there's 380,000 doses. For Johnson & Johnson, the one-time shot, everybody's been looking for it. We think it's the greatest, best thing coming along. California's received 44,000 doses. So we think about the enormity of what's needed. Johnson & Johnson's still yet not a major factor in vaccinations. A week later, let's look out. Pfizer, 516,000. Moderna, 380,000. Johnson & Johnson, 0. Another week out from that, March 28th, identical to March 21st. So what you see here is the state has a flat level of doses coming in. The state honestly is hoping that the federal government is going to under-promise and over-deliver and over-perform, that they'll actually send us more than what we need, because here's the crunch. We're right as of today, California's dosages are staying flat, but it's going to feel like it's constricting because now there's more people who are eligible. So as of today, with high-risk disability, developmental, high-risk chronic conditions, disability, other disability, there's 4.4 million additional Californians who are eligible to receive the vaccine. That brings the total numbers of people eligible to 16 to 18 million Californians, which is about 40 to 45% of the state. So to vaccinate everybody, in California needs 32 to 36 million doses. Again, that's the double doses. We're not factoring in Johnson & Johnson because there's just so little of it. The reality is California has received 15.7 million doses, and that's less than half that they need to meet everybody who's eligible today. So even though the amount that the state has received has remained flat, it's going to feel like it's constrained and squeezed because there's an additional number of people who are eligible as of today. People have asked, which vaccine should I get out of the 3? Whichever one's available to you at the time is the one you should get, is the best responses from public health. How do I get a vaccine now that I'm eligible? There are different routes. The state is working to try to bring multiple routes underneath the MyTurn umbrella. But in the meantime, you can still go by your healthcare provider, pharmacies, local health departments have their own supplies. There's a few pop-up clinics that are happening. And then, of course, you can go to the MyTurn website or the phone number 833-422-4255 to find something in your area. My tip, when I've been telling people, is try the pharmacies. Pharmacies seems to have their own approach. So if you're having trouble in other places, go directly to the pharmacy. They typically haven't said, please come to our window, but they do have a website where you can register for. I like to cover this every single time I talk about the vaccines because people ask, is the vaccine safe? You've got to make the best decision for yourself and those you care for based on what's known about the vaccine and what you know about your own medical situation. You got to weigh it against the risk of what it would mean to contract COVID. So this addresses if there's remaining vaccine hesitancy, but really if they have questions or you're worried about how COVID may impact you, talk to the person who knows your health the best and also who knows about the vaccine. Vaccine humor. Is there humor? Let's see. I saw this. I thought it was funny. What is the connection between the Johnson & Johnson vaccine, M&M and Hamilton, is that it is one shot. Between M&M and Johnson & Johnson, one shot. These arms are heavy. Between M&M and Hamilton, one shot is the mic drop. And between Johnson & Johnson and Hamilton is we're not throwing away our shot. Okay, a little bit of vaccine humor, but I really want to end with gratitude because the inclusion of people with disabilities in this vaccine plan was hard fought. It was continuously reevaluating strategy and assessment, and it was really a layered approach. It came about because of passionate, smart advocacy. Thank you to Governor Newsom, the administration, the Department of Public Health, who heard our pleas and prioritize people with developmental and other disabilities, specifically naming developmental. Thank you to the disability advocates from the Community Vaccine Advisory Committee. That's the State Council on Developmental Disabilities, Disability Rights California, California Federation of Independent Living Centers, DREDF, and Justice and Aging. We were a unified, solid front, no daylight between us and any step away in this process. Thank you to you. Thank you to the ARC. Jordan, thank you. You've been a valuable, fantastic, trusted partner who's just said, Aaron, how can we help? And you've responded every time. And that thank you extends to each member of the ARC. You put on the pressure. You made the need known. You responded when we said it's time to weigh in. And thank you because the success is because of you. Jordan, how'd I do? I try to fit 25 minutes into 15, so, or into 10. Hopefully we got close and left a little bit of time for questions.
I'm incredibly impressed that you were able to do that. So that's a great.
Well, let's pause. I need to apologize to the ASL interpreter and any other interpreters because they paid the price.
Seems like they were up for the task. So thank you guys. Thank you, Aaron. One, for the information, of course, again, twice for really leading the way for the IDD community, for the prioritizing people with disabilities in vaccine eligibility. We do have a few minutes for Q&A if anybody would like to ask a question. There is a good chance that Aaron was so specific and detailed that there may not be many. But if there are questions specific to the vaccine rollout, Aaron gave some great tips as well, then we can do those. Otherwise, Aaron, just thanks so much. Is there a place that you would direct people, maybe on the state council site? I know we have some things, but usually we're just copying what you guys put out. Is there a place that you would direct people to if they want to remember what you told them here today?
I wrote these slides for you and for all of you, and I'd be happy to forward these over. I apologize, I don't have them in Spanish, but if you like them translated, I can get them over to you and you can share them with your membership.
Great.
And two final things, Jordan. One is that as we're still not over the hump. As I started off saying, there's a light at the end of the tunnel, but there's still some way to travel it. So as you are experiencing challenges in getting vaccines, implementation challenges, let me know. I'm still working on that as part of my role, the Community Vaccine Advisory Committee. I'm also on an implementation work group within the administration. So we're going to keep troubleshooting as we go through. Please reach out to me, tell Jordan, Jordan, tell me, whatever you guys are hearing that I can help that's other than just the squeeze of availability. We know that part. If there's other pieces that can help regarding implementation, please let us know so I can use that through my advocacy, because the advocacy hasn't stopped. The last final piece is I just want to express my own personal gratitude for the administration giving IDD a voice at a table. There's 90 representatives from food, from farm workers, from teachers, and I'm grateful they gave IDD specifically a seat. I'm humbled, I'm honored to be the person to have filled that seat, and I hope I did well by all of you, because I know I was one person, one voice, representing a whole lot of hopes and fears and needs, and I hope I did good by you. So Jordan, thank you.
Thank you so much, Aaron. We'll make sure to share that information as well. And just to emphasize what Aaron said, if you out in the community or attendees are having, if there are hiccups out there or roadblocks or anything else that you're seeing that contradicts what you heard Aaron here say, that Aaron shared with us today, then please bring that up. You can bring it up to Aaron, myself, because we need to make sure that we're putting out any confusion that may be happening throughout the state at different county levels or other levels when it comes to eligibility for the vaccine. So please do let us know. Aaron, thank you again so much for joining us and with that really timely, of course, and important information. Really appreciate you joining us.
Thank you, everybody.